Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, why the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight might land Netflix in court.
Plus, a California woman heard animal noises coming from under her house. Or did she?
All that and more on the way next. You're a 93-year-old woman
Okay.
in El Sereno, California. You've been hearing strange nighttime noises beneath your home for weeks. But you just think, it's probably animals in the crawl space. Would be what most of us would think, right?
Uh-huh.
Raccoons, maybe?
Raccoons.
Something like that.
Okay.
But the sounds just continue. They grow louder and louder and oftentimes seem to respond to your family's footsteps. Seems suspicious, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, of course, you would call the police. That's what this woman did, which led to a shocking discovery that it was no animal underneath her crawl space, but instead a naked man who had been living under her house for 6 months. This guy was a trooper, too. He refused to be removed from the house. He was unfazed by the police dogs that were sent to try to coax him out.
Oh, my gosh.
The canine units are no joke.
Yeah.
Those things will rip your arteries right out, given the chance. They also tried to use tear gas on him. Eventually, they did get him out of there. The family now plans to block access to the crawl space.
Yeah. Don't blame them there.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of charges this guy is facing. I do know his name, Isaac Betancourt, 27 years old.
Oh, wow. So he's young.
Yeah. Well, how old were you expecting?
Well, I don't know.
For a naked man living under a house.
I don't know what I was expecting. I was just expecting I don't know. I guess for the most part, when I think of homeless people, I think of movies that have the old homeless man with the crazy hair.
Well,
and
I think that's because they can't shave and live such a hard life out in the elements that that's what they just wind up looking old.
Fair enough. But yeah, I just wasn't expecting him to be, our age.
Yeah. I you know what's crazy about this, though? So they said they think he lived under there for 6 months. He probably could have gotten away with it for much longer if he didn't start tapping. Like they said that when people would walk around, then he would tap back at them as if they were talking to him, or he was communicating back and forth. Maybe because living under a house in the darkness naked for 6 months probably causes you to go a little kooky. Mm-hmm. And so, he couldn't really exactly play it cool.
I think the going crazy part was probably a little before, you decided to start living under a house.
Well, that's resourceful is what I call that.
Okay.
If I've often said this, and I feel that this trivializes in a way the experience of people that are homeless. However, if I ever find myself in that situation, I've always planned that I will start walking. I'll just start walking south until I get to a good climate like California. I would start walking to California because I just feel like if I'm going to be homeless anywhere, I'd rather be homeless there than, in the north where it's going to snow and stuff,
Yeah. Although I suppose if you're walking to California, you'd have to go west, young man.
West and south. But eventually, I'm just going to walk until I get to San Diego.
Okay.
Has always been my plan. So I don't know. The blocking the crawl space. Is it a crime? I don't even know to live under somebody's house.
I don't think it's legal.
Now explain this to me. We have it pretty good, right? Like you, I, probably anybody listening. Odds are you've got internet, heat, air conditioning, hopefully a car. You got a lot of good things going on. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of things that if you go back 100 years, everybody 100 years ago would be like, man, I don't even know what those things are, but they sound better than what I've got going on. We've got all of that. We've got amazing advances in modern medicine, all these things. We've got so many things to be grateful for. And even not only compared to 100 years ago, compared to other places in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yet, again, explain this to me. We have more mental health crisis than ever. We're more depressed. We're more upset, more dissatisfied in our lives than it feels like we've ever been. Mm-hmm. And now, so what's the explanation? Some could say, well, we're just more aware of it now. Do you think that's true, though? I mean, I think we are more aware, but that doesn't mean that, like, do you think people in the olden days were as upset as we seem to be now? Because we seem pretty upset.
I mean, I think mental health has always been a struggle and always will be, just simply because it's kind of a lie to say that when you do have it all, that it fixes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It is true. Like, mental health, those crises don't go away, and it's not changed by how much you have. But I also think there's a level to it of we have so many things that we think we have to give us meaning in life. And yet we're still sitting around going like, what? I don't really know. You know, like, what is my, like,
something's missing.
Yeah. Is it my job? Like, what is supposed to be better in my life that will finally make me happy?
Right.
Is the question we probably wind up asking ourselves. And I think the real answer is that as things have continued to get better and better and better from like a measurable standpoint, things have also gotten worse because we've gotten away from what really gives us meaning and what really gives us hope and happiness, even despite dark circumstances, which can come whether you have a lot of wealth, a great job, things to keep you occupied, fun stuff to do, or whether it's the 1900s and like you're a farmer. Like that dark times can come no matter where you are. But what you need is hope through those dark times. And that's what God provides. Jesus is there, and we've gotten away from that. We feel like we've gotten so much else. The world has told us, you have all these other things. You don't need God. You have all these other things that you can turn to make you happy. And yet so many of us still aren't happy. So many of us still think we have so much, and then we're still hopeless. We still feel hopeless. God wants to give you that hope. We can get back to that. And that can happen wherever you are in life right now. It's not a long, drawn-out process. It is as simple as starting right now saying, hey, God, I want you in my life. I want some hope. I want to find out what that is about, because I've been sold a lot of other stuff, literally sold a lot of other stuff, and told a lot of other things, too, that has really not actually led me to being a whole heck of a lot happier than I was before. Jesus will do that for you. You want to know more? RadioU.com/free gift. Pizza Hut is getting into the wine business. And you might be thinking, oh, they're going to start selling wine at Pizza Hut. No.
Nope.
And that would be wild enough, actually. But they're not doing that. Pizza Hut has actually partnered with Irvine's Just Beyond Paradise Winery to create pizza-flavored wine. And what makes it pizza-flavored? First of all, it's not made with grapes, as would be typical, of course. It's made with tomatoes, which does make sense if you're making a pizza wine. That doesn't mean that it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then, doesn't this sound delicious? A tomato wine flavored with hints of fresh basil leaves, oregano, and even garlic. Garlic wine. It also has notes of oak wood to recall the roasty taste of freshly baked crust.
Interesting.
Yeah. Where's the cheese, though?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess, isn't cheese and wine like something that go together?
That's right. You provide the cheese.
Yeah, you provide the cheese.
Yeah. You want some, what do people always say? You want some wine? Cheese with that wine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do people say that?
I don't know. People always used to say that when I was a child. Okay. And an adult. I guess maybe this could be a good thing.
Okay.
Because if you can replace your pizza eating habits with wine drinking habits, think of all the calories you would save. You'd have to be in better shape.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, does wine have a lot less calories?
It's got to. Less fat.
Definitely less fat. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's got what is the positive of drinking wine? Like, you drink a glass of wine a day, it's got your antioxidants or something?
I've heard that's part of it, but I've also heard that it's something where it's like it can make you relax and chill out, and so you don't need to take as many, if you're a person that deals with, struggling to fall asleep at night, you wouldn't need to take like melatonin pills or something. Sure. I've heard that.
Instead of wine.
Yeah, like you would replace taking pills, or like a prescription or something. Oh. You would replace that with.
So what you're saying is now this is a triple whammy. Instead of alcohol, pizza, and melatonin, you just get it all from the wine.
I guess.
Is, I think, what Allie is definitely saying here. I guess at the end of the day, it makes sense that they're doing this.
Okay.
Because of all those reasons. We're more health conscious people now than we used to be. And Pizza Hut understands that, and they don't want their pizza business to go out the window. They have to maneuver. They have to change things up, how they do business, and they're doing that by making wine.
Making wine.
Pizza wine.
Pizza wine. I don't know if this is really like the successful way to run your business. If this really is a good branch off idea, but I don't hate it, I guess.
So, food fight?
No.
You don't want to have wine on the show early in the morning that tastes like pizza?
Yeah, no thanks.
All right. Let's take a trip up to Canada, where I feel bad for my friends up north, my distant Canadian relatives, I suppose, where many of them have fallen victim to a scam where they were trying to buy tickets and they went to Ticketmaster.com. They got to pay so many fees. No, the actual scam, it revolves around the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, where now it says hundreds of people tried to buy tickets for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, one of her shows in Canada. And it turns out that they were sold 100% fake tickets. The total of what people claim that they have been bilked out of, over $300,000. Those are some expensive tickets.
Those are, well, we knew the Taylor Swift tickets were expensive, but it's crazy that much, was stolen from people, with this insane scam. One particular family that was scammed bought 28 tickets. So they all bought them for different family members that were planning to go, even neighbors that were planning to go. So that was $15,600 just from one family that got scammed.
Yeah. Well, hold up on that. A lot of times, especially for a show like Taylor Swift, that should have been a red flag because you can't buy 28 tickets as one, like,
for
there's
one
no
account.
Group sales for Taylor Swift shows. It's like you can buy 2 if you're lucky, and they probably won't even let you buy that much because of how like in demand they are, right?
Right, that's true.
So I feel like that should have sent off some alarm bells. But I mean, hey, you're just excited that you get to go.
Yep.
What's crazy is that this one story, because there are obviously hundreds of people say that they have been scammed and did not get the tickets. They got absolutely nothing after paying obviously hundreds of dollars each to go. This one family said this is from somebody that they've like a ticket broker that they had bought tickets for other events before, and actually got the tickets and went. But in this case, somehow, they were scammed. They didn't get anything after paying thousands of dollars for those 28 tickets.
Right. It doesn't tell us in this article exactly how this family found out that these tickets were fake. But obviously, they did end up finding out that they weren't real and they were not going to be able to end up going to this Taylor Swift concert. So I'm curious to see how exactly they found out that it was fake. Did the broker know that it was a scam, or was that person scammed as well?
This is what I'm wondering, right? Because, well, for one, they said they even got like confirmation numbers. Like they said they got all and went through all the stuff that made it normal and whatever. But we also had the scam that where people were having their Ticketmaster accounts hacked and their tickets were being transferred out to other accounts. This feels like, I wonder if that was related to this. Yeah,
similar type of deal where, because the one family that bought the 28 tickets, not only did they get those confirmation numbers from the tickets, they got seat numbers.
Yeah.
So it seemed totally legit. I understand why they fell for it, but like you said, buying 28 tickets, I don't know if they bought them all at once, but that should be kind of a red flag. Like, oh, this is odd that you can buy 28 tickets.
Yeah, if you maybe that's why they went to this other independent person.
Maybe, yeah.
That they thought they could trust because they had bought from them before, but if you just go on the Ticketmaster site, there's no way it lets you click the plus all the way up to 28
all the
tickets.
way to 28.
Yeah, it's going to stop you long before that. But man, that is disappointing. I don't know how anybody goes to concerts anymore. Yesterday, I believe we got a new trailer for the upcoming live action Minecraft movie that's coming in the new year. But that's not the only Minecraft news that came across the wire yesterday. Also, following the movie will be, now we know, Minecraft themed attractions, as in like amusement park rides, opening in the U.S. and the UK in 2026 and 2027.
Very, very cool. I'm surprised that it's been this long, that it's taken Minecraft as, a brand to be able to get some attractions, in theme parks, because it's been so popular for so long.
It's been, Minecraft has been huge. All you need to do is you just see when kids are trick-or-treating, how many are dressed up as Steve from Minecraft.
Right.
And you're like, this should be a theme park ride.
Yeah.
Who are the, where the executives need to get on this. And now they finally have 2026. Now, it's not clear. Is it going to be, I think this is unlikely, at least in the United States, that it will be its entirely own theme park, or if this is something that will open somewhere. We don't even know what, I don't think it would be in Disney World, but we don't even know if it was a part of a already established park where that would be. But that feels more likely than an entire Minecraft amusement park all on its own. Yeah,
that would be obviously hard to open within the next, year or two for a whole theme park.
Yeah, right. If they do that, I'm pretty sure it'd be disappointing. I don't think you would have a lot of fun there.
You wouldn't have a lot available just yet. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they announced partnerships with something like Six Flags or Cedar Fair, whatever it could be. But I think this is cool. Probably long overdue. But yeah, it's interesting to see what these rides will end up looking like. I don't know what it will be, if it's going to be a roller coaster, if it's going to be, a shooter type style game or something. Who knows?
I hope it's, because it's so vague at the moment. I hope it's not just something that's really disappointing once we get to it. But how do you feel about the movie trailers so far?
I gotta be honest, I am not a fan of the movie trailers.
It's okay to say that. I had an entirely open mind going into Minecraft. You put Jack Black in any movie, I'm at least going to entertain the idea that it could be good.
Worked for Super Mario Brothers, right?
It sure did. It doesn't look like it's working in this movie.
I'm not a fan of what I've seen yet. I'm also a huge fan of Jason Momoa too. So
that's right.
But I just it's not giving me good feelings.
It probably will make some money. But
maybe.
That doesn't mean it's actually good.
Right.
Been in some ways a great week for Netflix, but the tides may be turning into a bad week for Netflix, where they have been hit with a string of lawsuits in the last few days, including a lawsuit complaining about the streaming issues that so many seem to have during the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. That particular lawsuit has been brought in the state of Florida by a man named Ronald Blue Denton. You're my boy, Blue. He's suing over the poor quality and constant interruptions of service that he and thousands of others experienced while trying to watch the boxing match on Friday night. He reports being, quote, faced with legendary problems, including no access, streaming glitches, and buffering issues cited in the lawsuit. There's that. There's also some speculation that based off of Jake Paul's comments after the fight, where he said he was pulling punches, that also could lead to a lawsuit as far as the sports betting side of things. Because if the fight wasn't entirely held on the up and up, where there's any question that can be proven that it wasn't a fair fight, where the outcome was in some ways predetermined, then that could also lead to some lawsuits as well.
Yeah, I think that part of it is probably the more worrisome part than the whole, lawsuit from Blue Denton over here, who complains about the legendary problems. First of all, I thought legendary was a good thing. It's oh, that was legendary. But no, it's legendary problems as in bad. So
I wonder if that is meant as a dig at Netflix, because they probably build this as it's going to be a legendary fight, and instead you got legendary issues,
legendary problems. Yeah, maybe that would be a good turn of the words there from Blue Denton. He might be a man with good words. He might be good with that stuff. But yeah, I think as far as if I was Netflix and worried about any of these lawsuits or worried about potential lawsuits, it would probably be the fact that Jake Paul did mention afterwards that he pulled some punches to just make sure Mike Tyson could keep going for a few more rounds.
Yeah, I don't think that the streaming issues thing goes very much of anywhere. As annoying as it is, like that's just Netflix can probably get away with like, well, it just depends on your internet and whatever. Because it is true that while many experienced issues throughout, and there's no denying that, there's also many that like just could watch the fight pretty normally. Like I did leading up to the fight during some of the undercard stuff, have some issues. But then once it got to the actual Mike Tyson fight, I don't remember having a whole heck of a lot of interruption. The sports betting side of things, this may be where it comes. I don't know if it's clear cut enough, but one of these days we are going to get one of these lawsuits. And it's like, if you are a big sports bettor, it might be a be careful what you wish for type thing, where a lawsuit is going to be brought against some sports books or something, like, and it's because then they're all going to be so nervous about getting another like thing happening like that to them. They're going to withdraw all the offerings they have, and you're going to not have it as much to bet on, and you're going to be sad if that's your thing.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that part of like the retaliation of what would happen if a lawsuit was to be waged against a fight like this. You might not see as many options in the future.
But that said, it'd just be better if everything could be fair.
100%.
And if you are a sports bettor, you can just put your money on something and not have to worry about it being rigged. But then people also say everything is rigged. So I just think one time they're going to find something that kind of maybe is enough rigged that it messes everything up. We're supposed to get some exciting things happening in space yesterday. It turned out it didn't actually wind up going off as planned. SpaceX had a launch yesterday of their Starship rocket for the 6th time. But what was supposed to be interesting about it is that they were going to try to catch the boosters from their rocket, which, Ali, you know about space. That's never been done before.
Well, they actually did do this earlier this year.
They did it once before.
Yes, with their Mechazilla is what they call it.
Why? Why do they make the... I'm so torn. Because every time they name like something like this interesting, then I'm like, why does it sound like it's from a movie and it's a supervillain thing? But every time they name it something boring, I'm like, come on, it's a cool thing. Name it something cool.
Right.
I just can't, I'm never satisfied.
When it's... You can't please everyone. No. Definitely not Hudson. But yeah, so they did do this earlier this year, but apparently something just didn't line up right. So 4 minutes after launch, they said it's a no-go for catching it. So they just let it fall into the ocean, which is what NASA's been doing for years.
Boo.
Yeah, which
Those
is not
poor fish.
It's not fun. It's not cool, because if you did see the video of them catching the boosters earlier this year, it was absolutely insane. Like they literally landed it on a dime. It's crazy.
How do they do that?
Technology, man. I don't know how exactly the science works, but it literally needs to be perfect for them to be able to land it on this tower system. So I guess there were just enough things that were wrong that they were not going to be able to do it, and it could end up being bad. I don't know if it would cause like a crash or something like that. But yeah, there was enough that wasn't lining up where they just said, nope, we're not even going to try it.
I don't know why I thought that. I didn't know what, like when they say they're trying to catch it, I don't even know what that actually means. I kind of thought they just were going to like send out a big net in the ocean that kind of just kept it from sinking, you know? It seems like the simple thing to do.
It's just like a gun with a big net, like a cannon just shoots out.
Yeah, like from the movies.
No.
When you like catch a wild animal.
No.
But no, I just meant like a big one that just lays out on the water. Like a big hoop, kind of a big basketball hoop kind of thing.
Hoop. Get it through the hoop.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be like, I don't know. I think they could do it.
I mean, that would be impressive, but in all honesty, a lot less impressive than what they actually are able to do.
But doesn't it sound easier?
Yeah, but I think what the reason SpaceX does this is because it makes their equipment reusable.
Right.
NASA for years has made us believe that rocket ships and boosters and all of these different things that they use to send stuff up into space is not really that reusable. And so you kind of throw all of this money in, throw all of this time and work for one shot, and it may not end up working even.
Yeah.
In some cases where it doesn't end up going well. So SpaceX has really changed the game on that.
So you couldn't reuse it if you sent out a giant net into the ocean and it fell in the net and then you dragged the net into the land.
I mean, you probably, maybe, I don't know. I won't say, no to that, but also, why would you want to do that if you can land it on a literal dime? Like, it's kind of cool how they can do that.
It's cool. It just sounds really hard. The net thing, I just think it's easier.
Hey, humans can do hard things.
Yeah. So last night, another exciting night for college football fans. We got the College Football Playoff Committee rankings. What do you think is more interesting? Because we have the rankings, but the rankings don't necessarily reflect what the bracket is because of the conference championship rules and stuff. So would we rather actually know what the bracket is? I can tell you that instead.
Yeah, the bracket is looking interesting, I gotta say.
Based off of the committee's rankings, and if the conference champions hold the way that they are in their standings right now, you would have Oregon as the number 1 seed, Texas number 2, Miami 3, and Boise State would be getting a first round bye as the 4 seed if they can go ahead and win their conference. That would then put 5 through 12 as Ohio State, followed by Penn State, followed by Indiana, followed by Notre Dame, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and BYU, because they'd still be the 5th conference champion, which would, based off of the rankings, also leave Tennessee out in the cold, even though they are ranked number 11.
Yikes. Well, like we said, that might end up happening just because there's good teams in all the conferences, not just the SEC.
Yeah.
But I, as an Ohio State fan, am totally okay with this playoff setup currently. I know many are probably thinking, why wouldn't you want to be, getting a first round bye? And that does sound great. And that, we'll see what ends up happening to the end of the season, because if Ohio State beats Indiana and then beats Michigan, they will obviously go play Oregon in the Big Ten championship. Suppose, if Oregon also wins out, that would be the matchup there in the Big Ten championship game. And then the winner would get that first round bye. But I love the fact that Ohio State currently, if it ends right now, would get a home playoff game, because the shoe at night for a home playoff game, even if it is against Brigham Young University, would be so fun.
That is one of the things that's so exciting about this playoff format is the home atmosphere for some of these playoff games. I think what's interesting about these rankings is, based off of the remaining schedule for the SEC teams, they're basically telling you, the committee is telling you, this is how we're going to rank them, which means if everything was to hold, Tennessee would be left out. But Indiana has to play Ohio State. Right. I think what they also might be telling you is that if Indiana loses to Ohio State, they are going to fall behind all of these SEC teams and be left out, which will be frustrating to me. But also, if you go through their schedule, Tennessee, like all of the 2-loss SEC teams, have played 5 teams tougher than anyone Indiana has beaten. And so, as much as I want the little guy to get a chance and I want Indiana to be in there because I like them, I just hope they do it the right way by beating Ohio State. But getting them getting in over Tennessee, if they can't beat Ohio State, I really don't think Indiana's better.
I just feel like it's so hard to leave Indiana out if they go, if they only have the 1 loss, if they're 11-1 at the end of the season, and you're, putting in teams that are 10-2 ahead of them, it just seems so hard to say. I don't know. It makes me feel not great about it, because you're rewarding some losses, but also you're rewarding better scheduling. So I get that aspect, because like you said, these SEC teams theoretically are playing harder games, but also I think that argument can get a little bit circular, because it's like, well, this team played this team and then this team played that team. So it's so tough. Like I said last week when these rankings came out, I do not want to be in this room to try and figure out who these 12 teams are going to be. I
wish I could get in there and knock some heads together and say, as much as I'm biased, I want Indiana to be in. Yeah. But if they can't beat Ohio State, they don't deserve it. Okay. They do not. They've beaten a bunch of 500 teams from the Big Ten and Florida International, where Tennessee has beaten Alabama and Georgia's beaten Tennessee. And so they're actually taking on tough teams. Again, 4 or 5 teams that are tougher than anybody Indiana faced all season long. even being in a major conference. We are doing Would You Rather Wednesday. This one comes to us courtesy of Ricky. I don't know what he was thinking when he came up with this one, but his question is, would you rather be able to communicate with squirrels or have your fridge talk to you, but it roasts your life choices? Lindsay says, I want to know what those silly little bushy-tailed friends are thinking for sure. Jeff says fridge, if it can tell me about what's in the fridge and if I'm running low on stuff.
Ooh.
It might do it in a judgy way.
Yeah. Hey, you're out of milk.
Yeah. Might want to buy some sour cream, loser. But I think that I get it from Jeff. That could be helpful, even if it does have a tone to it. And if it roasts my life choices, I'll beat it into submission. You're going to beat up a fridge, Jeff.
Oh.
Jackson says, talking to squirrels sounds fun, but imagine your fridge roasting you every time you grab ice cream at 2 a.m. Comedy gold. Sounds like we're all imagining the fridge is going to be like friendlier than I was picturing the fridge.
You were picturing the fridge to be pretty nasty.
I know some people that are like that fridge in my life.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I want to interact with them every time I need something to eat. But I don't know. It could help you. Like that actually could
motivate you.
It could motivate. It would give you a complex. I'm sure it'd be terrible for your mental health.
Yep.
But you might give you an eating disorder, but you might get in shape too. So
yeah, that's true. If it was a motivating fridge, like it motivated me to make the right choices, to eat the right food, I would be okay with that. But the fact that it's a little judgmental, I don't think so. That would be tough. Yeah,
it would be tough. But then again, I feel like even if it doesn't help me stay in shape, what if it nags me about leaving leftovers in there that I'm never going to eat?
Oh, yeah.
That actually could. Like if I just threw out the one thing of leftovers every time it starts to get a little fuzzy, instead of leaving it and cleaning the fridge like once a month, I'd probably be a little better off.
Fair.
And I feel probably might be a little more conscious about all the stuff that I just put back in there, thinking I'm going to eat it. Maybe I actually would get around to eating it.
Yeah. Maybe you would. I
actually
less
just wasteful.
Cleaned out my fridge yesterday. Cleaned out some stuff that I knew.
You just moved in.
Well, no, I've been there for like 2 months. But there was a few things in there that I was like, okay, I'm clearly never going to eat this. And it's getting to the point where it's not good anymore. It was only 2 things. It wasn't like I'm cleaning the whole thing out.
Yeah. So which side are you taking officially?
I think I'd like the squirrels too. You know, my mental health is too fragile for the fridge.
I think this is the wrong choice, but I want to take my chances with the fridge because I think that the squirrels could be like incredibly annoying. And if you think about the wording of the question, Ricky said, communicate with squirrels or your fridge talks to you. You can't talk back to the fridge, I suppose. The squirrels, you're like out there like chitter chattering with them. You're going to look insane. Yeah. You want to talk about mental health. People are going to report you, think you have a mental health crisis. So I am going with the fridge.
Okay.
I feel like I often think this, that like when you're a big company, there's almost nothing you can do, nothing you can change that will scare away the customers that you already have, right? Like think about how many changes over the years Facebook has made. They just keep getting bigger. Every time they make a change, or Twitter, people are like, I'm never going to use this again. And they still keep using it.
Yeah.
And they never really go away. Only 15 million people have migrated from Twitter to Blue Sky. People aren't getting scared away.
Right.
Despite the changes. But it has been proven that that's not always the case. Tropicana, the makers of orange juice, have proven that you can make a significant enough change to scare away the customers that love your product. Tropicana has proven this year by changing their orange juice bottle. Did you notice that they did this?
I did not notice this.
Neither did I. But apparently,
don't drink Tropicana, I guess.
I love orange juice. I don't buy it much because it's expensive and full of sugar. But I do like orange juice. But I didn't know that Tropicana switched. They had, and when you see them side by side, it is noticeable. They had an iconic bottle. Some say it's shaped like a carafe. It's kind of like wider at the bottom. It gets slender at the top, but kind of like widens again. And then it has that big orange cap.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, they switched to like a very generic bottle that literally is just like a cylinder with a spout at the top.
Yeah.
Since they made that change in July, sales dropped by 8.3%. In August, sales dropped another 10%. Last month, sales dropped another 19%.
Wow.
It has fallen off the table, and it's being chalked up to the switch in bottle design. Who knew that people were so loyal to the design of your bottle? The speculation is that the old design made it look a little fancier, like kind of like a like something you would see sitting out on the table at a restaurant or something like that. And this just looks like a generic, forgettable bottle, and so it doesn't feel as fun and fancy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought the old bottle looked better, and the big cap is kind of iconic, you know, because it's way oversized. So yeah, that's not surprising to me. But also, I think the more telling part of this is that the bottle also downsized from 52 ounces to 46. And anytime there's anything of what people call online shrinkflation, which is when things have just downsized because of inflation, that's the, supposed reason. People are also switching because they don't want to support that. Yeah.
They said, well, it says here that the prices were supposed to go down at least. Like it'd be smaller, but you'd still be paying about the same price per bottle.
Yeah.
But that has not been the case at many supermarkets, grocery stores across the country. They're still charging the same price as when it was the big size.
Yep.
Even though it's now 6 ounces smaller. What's crazy too is that this isn't the first time this has happened to Tropicana. I surely don't remember this, but back in 2009, they switched off of the other thing that's iconic about Tropicana, which is the logo with the orange with the straw sticking out of it, as if that would actually work. They switched that to like a more modern, generic logo of just a glass of orange juice. That only lasted for 6 weeks because people were so upset by it.
Yeah, people were not happy. Change is one of those things that it's tough and people don't like a change. But also, when you do have brand loyalty and suddenly that brand changes their entire look, that loyalty starts to get a little questionable, starts to waver.
And I can see the people at Tropicana, they're thinking, what? But it's still the good orange juice. It's still like you still like it better than Simply Orange, don't you? Not if I have to pay more for it. Maybe I don't.
Not if I have to pay more and I'm getting less, because those are two key factors where it's like, that's not going to go over well.
It's all about bang for your buck. You have a preferred orange juice brand?
Not really. I don't drink, like you said, I don't drink orange juice that often.
Yeah.
But if I do drink orange juice, it's not going to be Tropicana, apparently.
Yeah, I guess not. It doesn't seem like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck there. I don't have a preference on orange juice either. I just want it to be real.
Yeah.
And preferably, I'd like it to have all the pulp in the world.
Oh, you're a pulp guy.
Yeah. Give me massive amounts of pulp. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.